Kindly like my videos and subscribe to get notification for more interesting videos. The birthday candles flickered in the soft restaurant light, reflecting off the untouched glass of Cabernet in front of Clara Bennett. She glanced at her phone for the 11th time in half an hour, still nothing. Her fingernail tapped the screen in a steady rhythm that echoed the dull ache in her chest. "Should we wait a bit longer for your guests, Miss Bennett?" the waiter asked gently, his eyes darting toward the 4 empty chairs around her. Clara forced a smile. "Just 15 more minutes, please." Around her, laughter rose and champagne corks popped. She smoothed her emerald silk blouse, the one she had bought just for tonight. The hum of celebration filled the air, but she sat marooned in silence. 2 weeks earlier, she had reserved this table at Ellison's, Denver's newest culinary gem, to celebrate both her birthday and a huge milestone, securing $1.2 million in angel investment for Aurora Skin Company, the natural skincare startup she had built from scratch. She texted her family group chat 3 times. None replied. She remembered other silences. When she was 16, her father had taken her younger brother Ryan fishing in Montana. "He's a boy," her father had said. "He needs investment. You just need stability." That same stability had led Clara to co-sign Ryan's $18,000 motorcycle loan years later, only to end up paying it herself when he defaulted. Tonight felt like the echo of every dismissal. She stared at the cake in front of her, a small circle of chocolate with unlit candles. "Excuse me," said a warm voice. A tall man stood beside her table, salt and pepper hair, kind eyes behind tortoiseshell glasses. "I couldn't help noticing. It might be your birthday." Clara hesitated, then nodded. "It is." "Mind if I wish you a happy one?" he asked. She smiled faintly. "Go ahead." The man's expression softened. "Would you mind if I joined you until your guests arrive?" Against every instinct, she said yes. He introduced himself as Michael Ross, a writer of books about resilience. "Seems you know something about that," he said with a gentle smile. Clara laughed, surprised by her own voice. "Are you always this perceptive with strangers?" "Occupational hazard," he replied. When the waiter returned, Michael gestured for him to light the candles. "So," he asked, "what brings you here tonight, all dressed up and waiting?" Clara hesitated, then told him the truth. "I just closed a big investment for my company. I thought my family would want to celebrate. And they're late." "They're not coming," she said quietly. He studied her for a moment, then nodded. "Then they're missing something extraordinary. Tell me about your company." And for the first time that night, she smiled for real, pulling out her phone to show him photos of Aurora Skin Company, sustainably sourced, cruelty-free products inspired by nature. Michael listened with genuine interest, admiration glowing in his eyes. "Someone should be celebrating your brilliance," he said softly. By the time Clara blew out her candles, her wish had changed, not for family approval, but for strength to stop needing it. "You don't wait for their validation anymore," Michael said, reading her expression. "Exactly," she murmured. "Some people can't give what they don't have." They shared cake beneath the amber glow of the restaurant, and for the first time in years, Clara felt seen. 3 years later, morning sunlight spilled across her Boulder balcony. Aurora Skin Company had grown into a $35 million brand. She sipped coffee, smiling at her phone. 500,000 views on yesterday's interview. The caption read "The New Face of Natural Beauty." Then the phone buzzed again. "Mom." Clara hesitated before answering. "Sweetheart, did you hear? Ryan's getting married to Jessica. We'd love your help planning the wedding." Clara blinked. "That's great news. When's the date?" "June. And listen, your brand and our family name could make such a collaboration. Bennett Beauty, doesn't that sound lovely?" Clara stared at the Forbes magazine on her table. "I'll think about it," she said, her tone clipped. Minutes later, Ryan texted, "Hey sis, my racing team needs a sponsor. Great exposure for Aurora, only $300,000 for the season." Clara set the phone down. The penthouse felt suddenly cold. Later that morning, she opened her laptop and stared at old family photos, Ryan's graduation, her parents' smiling faces at his races. Her own college photo, she stood alone in cap and gown. A voice message arrived from Michael. "Saw your interview. Remember, you became who you are despite them, not because of them." She smiled faintly, whispering, boundaries. Opening a spreadsheet, she began listing every debt she had quietly covered over the years. Motorcycle loan, rent payments, boat repairs, $47,000 in silent support. "This isn't revenge," she murmured. "It's clarity." When her CFO walked in, she instructed, "If my family calls about sponsorships or partnerships, direct them to me personally." He nodded. "Legally, you're not obligated to mix family and business." "Exactly," she said, closing the spreadsheet. That evening, a handwritten card arrived. Michael's neat script quoting, "Boundaries aren't walls, they're foundations for healthy relationships." Clara smiled, inspired, and drafted an email to her family. She attached the spreadsheet, writing, "If we're to collaborate, we'll start from zero, with full transparency." She hesitated, remembering that lonely birthday at Ellison's, then pressed send. Minutes later, her mother replied, furious, "How dare you? After everything we've done for you?" Clara inhaled deeply and typed, "I was grateful in silence, in money and tears. Now I'm grateful to myself for stopping." That evening, Michael arrived for dinner. "They want to use me," she said quietly, "not celebrate me." "And what do you want?" he asked. "To stop confusing obligation with love." He smiled. "Then that's what you'll do." As they watched the stars over the Flatirons, Clara felt peace for the first time. 2 days later, her receptionist buzzed her intercom. "Your mother and brother are here." "They brought cake." Clara's marketing team froze. "Tell them I'm in a meeting," she replied calmly. "They insist on waiting," came the reply. With deliberate poise, Clara excused herself and entered the reception area. Her mother held a bakery box like an olive branch. Ryan stood beside her in designer jeans. "Surprise!" her mother chirped. "We wanted to celebrate your Forbes feature." Clara smiled politely. "Let's talk in the conference room." Inside, her mother ran a hand along the walnut table. $6,000 for this, I'd guess." Clara folded her arms. "Why are you here?" "Can't we visit our daughter?" "Last time we spoke, you asked for $300,000. Forgive me for doubting your motives." "You've changed," her mother snapped. "Success made you cold." "No," Clara said softly. "I've just stopped pretending." "Come on, sis," Ryan said. "We're family." Clara's eyes met his. "Exactly. Family should mean love without invoices, support without conditions." Her mother's jaw tightened. "After all we sacrificed." "What did you sacrifice?" Clara's voice rose. "When I needed co-signers, you said it was too risky. When I worked 18-hour days, you never visited. When I sat alone at Ellison's on my birthday, you didn't answer my messages." Ryan shifted uncomfortably. "That's not fair." "What's not fair is using family as currency," she shot back. "I don't need family only when I'm successful." Silence filled the room. Finally, Clara softened. "I'll always love you both, but Aurora Skin Company isn't a family ATM." Her mother's eyes glistened. "We'll go," she said stiffly. As they left, Clara exhaled deeply. Her phone buzzed. Michael's text. "Proud of you for standing your ground." She smiled faintly, replying, "Thank you for teaching me how." That evening, Clara drafted an email politely declining Ryan's wedding invitation. She attached a modest gift card, then worked with her financial advisor to set up a family emergency trust, available only for genuine need. When finished, she poured a glass of Cabernet and gazed over Boulder's twinkling skyline. Boundaries aren't anger, they're fences built from self-respect. The next morning, Ryan's Facebook post appeared. "Some people only care about money, not family." Friends tagged her name. Clara stared at the screen, took a slow breath, and typed her own post. "Family isn't debt. It's where love should be unconditional. I hope everyone finds that place, including me." Within minutes, supportive comments flooded in. She turned off notifications, leaned back and smiled. For once, silence felt light. Her friend Rachel Coleman called minutes later. "I saw your post. You okay?" "Better than I expected." "Good, because your mom's calling everyone. She even phoned James from the chamber, saying you've become distant." Clara laughed bitterly. She never asked what Aurora makes until Forbes called. "She's spinning stories," Rachel warned. "They're saying they supported you from day one. 22 investors believed in me before they did." "Then keep standing tall," Rachel said softly. Later, Clara entered the office in her forest green blouse. 3 calls from your brother, her assistant said. Block him, Clara replied. Any investor updates? Yes. Mr. Harrington said your brother contacted him with concerns about the company. Clara froze. Schedule a lunch today. 2 hours later, Clara sat across from James Harrington at Ellison's, the same restaurant where it all began. I understand my brother reached out, she began. He did, James said, frowning. He claimed family issues might affect business decisions. Not very professional. Clara nodded. Family and business are separate in my world. James's stern face softened. Good. The numbers speak for themselves. 28% growth. Impressive. Relief washed over her. Thank you. Your brother mentioned a family collaboration, James continued. Sounded entitled. There won't be one, she said firmly. James smiled. Smart woman. They ordered lunch, and by the end, Clara had regained her confidence. Back at her office, she finalized plans for the Aurora Foundation, a scholarship for young female entrepreneurs. That evening, she quietly donated $20,000 to the Colorado Motorcycle Safety Initiative, anonymous, poetic closure. Her father's message arrived hours later. Your mother is devastated. This humiliation is beneath you. Clara ignored it. By nightfall, the foundation had received 12 applications. When the doorbell rang, Michael stood holding takeout. Thought you'd prefer dinner in, he said. You thought right. As they ate Thai food on the balcony, she told him about Ryan contacting her investors. That crosses every line, Michael said. They didn't believe him, she replied. Professionalism speaks louder than gossip. He smiled. You've grown into remarkable restraint, Clara. Fire just makes smoke, she murmured. I prefer clarity. The sunset bled gold over the mountains as messages buzzed on her phone. More apologies, more guilt trips. They're losing control, Michael said. I know, she answered, but I'm gaining peace. Days later, Rachel called again. Your mom's tone has changed. She said she might have pushed too hard. Clara stared out her window. 3 years too late, but at least she's reflecting. Your dad told someone he wished he'd invested in you from the start, Rachel added. Clara sighed. Funny how regret arrives when success is visible. That evening, she opened Ryan's group chat. She's destroyed this family with her selfishness, he'd written. Below it, Jessica, his fiancée, had replied, maybe we should think about what we've asked of her. Clara smiled, closed her laptop, and whispered, sometimes silence is strength. Outside, Boulder glittered under a silver moon. The next morning, Clara listened to her mother's voicemail. Sweetheart, we're still your parents. Some bonds can't break. She pressed delete. Sunlight streamed across the floor, catching an ivory envelope, Ryan's wedding invitation. The handwritten note inside read, time for family healing. We miss you. Moments later, Michael appeared at her door carrying pastries. Haunted by ghosts again, he teased. Only by guilt trips, she said, handing him the invitation. Brown Palace wedding. Very generous. Or very manipulative, he said, raising an eyebrow. Clara laughed softly. Both, maybe. He noticed a stack of photo albums on her table. Recent arrivals. FedEx special, she said dryly. My mother labeled the pages. Remember Christmas 1999? You were so excited. The phone buzzed. Ryan again. Dad's blood pressure's high. Please come to the wedding. Clara set the phone down. Last week it was Mom's migraines, she muttered. Michael met her gaze. They're getting creative. Shouldn't I feel worse? She asked. Instead, I just feel tired. That's not cold, Michael said. That's clarity. Clara exhaled. I don't want to hate them. Boundaries aren't hate, he said gently. They're health. She nodded slowly. Forgiveness without restoration. Exactly, he said. You can love people and still protect yourself. That night, Clara drafted a calm, respectful email setting firm terms for attending the wedding. Neutral interactions, no business talk, mutual respect. When she finally pressed send, she felt something settle inside her. Peace, not escape. At the wedding weeks later, the Brown Palace glittered with chandeliers and champagne. Clara stood beside Michael, graceful in a midnight blue gown. Ryan approached with Jessica, surprise flickering on his face. You came, he said. And brought a date. Congratulations, Clara replied warmly. Jessica smiled. Your gift was perfect, thank you. About the racing team, Ryan began, but Clara raised a hand gently. Today's about your marriage, not business. He paused, then nodded. Michael added, we met over birthday candles. They shared a brief smile before moving on. For the first time, Clara felt free among her family. Her mother appeared moments later, elegant in pale blue chiffon. Darling, may I speak with you? She led Clara to a quiet alcove. You look lovely, but that email you sent, it hurt. Setting terms for a wedding felt cold. I needed clarity, Clara said evenly. We're family, her mother insisted. We support each other without conditions. That support should go both ways, Mom. I love you, but I've learned to love myself too. Her mother's expression faltered. We won't be around forever. And when you truly need me, I'll be there, Clara said softly. But what you're asking isn't need, it's entitlement. For once, her mother had no reply. Will you call next week? She asked quietly. Sunday, Clara promised. As they rejoined the crowd, Ryan raised his glass from across the room. Their eyes met. No warmth, but a hint of respect. It was enough. A year later, birthday candles flickered again, this time in Clara's own kitchen. Laughter filled the air as Michael stood beside her. Rachel raised her glass, and 5 close friends cheered. To choosing your family and your future, Rachel toasted. Clara smiled. No empty chairs. No brittle smiles. Just peace. Make a wish, Michael whispered. She hesitated, realizing she already had everything she'd once wished for: love, freedom, and purpose. Her company thrived. Her book with Michael inspired thousands. Later, as guests mingled, she retreated to her study and opened her journal. Love doesn't require sacrifice of self. Therapy had taught her that boundaries are gates she controls. Her family was cordial now. Holiday dinners, polite conversations, balanced respect. She could love them without surrendering her peace. When the doorbell rang, a young woman stood nervously holding a notebook. Sorry to intrude, she said. I need advice. My dad wants me to join his company, but I want to start my own. Clara smiled. Obligation and love are different currencies, she said, pouring her coffee. One drains you, the other fills you. As she guided the young woman through separating her father's dreams from her own, Clara realized how far she had come. The woman who once paid her brother's debts now taught others to protect their worth. Later that evening, Michael lit a single candle on the last slice of cake. They blew it out together, fingers intertwined. Their book, Choosing Your Peace, rested on the counter beside them. Do you ever wish they'd shown up that night? He asked. Clara shook her head, smiling. No. If they had, I'd never have met the man who taught me that kindness can come from anyone. They stood on the balcony, the sunset painting Boulder in gold and rose. Michael handed her a glass of Cabernet. Any regrets? He asked. She took a sip, savoring its warmth. Sometimes the loneliest birthday becomes the first gift of freedom. The wine no longer tasted of waiting. It tasted of arrival,